Hello everyone, today I'm gonna play the mad cow disease official scenario and get 3 biohazards using save load state. Getting 3 biohazards in this scenario without save load state is extremely hard. To get 3 biohazards in this scenario using the strategy that I'm gonna use, we need to get these upgrades in 160 days or lower. As first condition, transmission, insect, rabbit, pork, wild game, lamb, fish, poultry, dairy, hermetic storage resilience, frozen storage resilience, preservative storage resilient, avocado, abilities, cold resistance to, symptoms, necrosis, acute encephalitis, total organ failure. Lethality is really low in this scenario, thus we really need to get these 3 highly lethal symptoms around 160 days or less. Another goal that we need to achieve in the first condition is to infect most countries around 160 days or less. This is another problem due to slow infection rate of mad cow disease. One of the biggest challenges in this scenario is to accumulate enough points to get all the upgrades that I said recently in around 160 days or lower. Mad cow disease plague is really slow due to low starting infectivity. Also, transmission in this scenario provides a slow amount of raw infectivity, if you will. Raw infectivity in this context is the bar that we see in the infectivity gauge. However, this plague has transmission that provides bonus infectivity in certain environments. For example, avocado provides bonus infectivity in rich countries, but it provides very little raw infectivity. If you play this scenario without save load state, you will find that accumulating lots of points very early is extremely hard. Thus, most runs in this scenario take longer than 365 days. If we want to get 3 biohazards in this scenario, we need to finish this around 365 days or lower. I remember there was a time that I finished this scenario without save load state in 374 days, but I only got 2 biohazards. I think cure progress was the reason why I didn't get 3 biohazards in that run. After that kind of run never have been happening until today. For the second condition, we need to get potato and rice for bonus infectivity in cold and hot countries, infect all remaining uninfected countries, get all remaining symptoms that have lethality, and of course, slow down cure progress and reduce it as low as possible. In this run, I'm gonna use save load state to get 3 biohazards in this scenario. Brace yourself because this run is gonna be really exhausting because we're gonna use save load state excessively in this run. The reason that we're using save load state is to get many points as early as possible via initial passive DNA, yellow bubbles, and red bubbles. We can also use the save load state to trigger infected planes or boats that will go to a country that we need to infect. Another use of save load state in this run is triggering the special effect of the fish transmission. This effect can randomly infect any country. However, triggering this effect is not easy, even if we're using the save load state. Before playing, you should have these genes: ATP boost, Darwinist. Even though this plague doesn't have many mutations like virus plague, we still need this gene to trigger early mutations that helps us get acute encephalitis before we unlock more symptoms. Parasite, I choose this gene to easily spread through land, although I can't confirm its effectiveness in this run because it was still hard to spread through land. Not sure if removing this gene would make land transmission much harder. I think you could replace this gene with native biome. Just a suggestion though. Extremophile, we need this gene to have a slight infectivity boost in urban countries like China and Saudi Arabia. Saudi Arabia is not an urban country, but Extremophile provides all bonus infectivity to every environment. You could replace this gene with Orbophile, but infection rate in Saudi Arabia could slightly slow down. Transstasis. We need this gene to get transmission that we need as early as possible. Now let's play the scenario. First off, I want to get 3 plus 3 DNA points in this red bubble. I'm gonna restart the scenario if I don't get 3 DNA points. Next, I want to get plus 1 DNA point in each day for, let's say, 17 days. At the start of every Plague Inc. stage, we could get a total of 20 points or maybe 19 points from passive DNA. We can get 1 point from passive DNA in a day until we get all points from it. See the plus 1 on the bottom left of the screen? It means that I got a DNA point when I moved to the next day. I'm gonna continue acquiring 1 DNA point per day for the next 16 days, I guess. The technique to check if you get a DNA point in a day is this. First off, once the game is loaded, pause the game immediately by pressing space. Then look at the date on the top right corner. Then press space again and unpause the game, and then wait for the next day to come and check if your DNA point increases by 1. If it increases, save the game before repeating the steps again. Otherwise, load the previous save state. If you want to speed up the process, use the fast forward mode when unpausing the game. In my case, my DNA points increases by 1, so I'm gonna save the game, and after that, I'm gonna keep getting plus 1 DNA point per day. Another thing to look for is the yellow bubble. When you see one, try to get at least plus 2 or plus 3 DNA points from the bubble. Consider restarting the game if you only get plus 1 DNA point from the yellow bubble. I have 9 DNA points. I'm going to get a rabbit for bonus infectivity plus mutation chance. Also going to save the game since I got plus 1 DNA point. Also pay attention on how many days you already spent in the game. In my case, I'm 8 days in the game at this point. Got +1 DNA point. Going to save the game. Got another one. Save the game. Look for this yellow bubble and try to get at least 2 or +3. If you only get 1, you may consider reloading to previous state. If you're confident that you don't need extra points, you can take the +1. Remember, yellow bubbles appear randomly and sometimes they rarely show up. Good thing about yellow bubbles is that they don't have spawn limit, unlike the red bubbles. Got another yellow bubble and it's +3. Going to save the game at this point. Remember, it's alright if you don't get +1 passive DNA in a day as long as you got yellow bubble. Got another one. Save the game. Get wild game for land transmission. Land transmission is gonna be a crucial part of this strategy. Got +1 DNA point. Going to save the game. Got another one. Save the game. Got +1 DNA point. Going to save the game. Got another one. Save the game. Got +1 DNA point. Going to save the game. Got another one. Save the game. Got another one. Save the game. Got +1 DNA point. Going to save the game. Got another one, save the game. Got yellow bubble and plus 2 DNA points. Gonna save the game. Got Festival of Love news. This news is very important in this strategy because this news significantly increases infection rate per day. We need to infect as many people as possible in our starting country in less than 100 days so that a specific plane transmission later in this strategy will be less frustrating. In this strategy, we need to use a plane in order to reach the American continent or the effect of the fish ability that infects a random country which is less reliable. Also, you must get this news before your plague is spotted and detected, otherwise you won't get this news anymore. Got yellow bubble and only plus 1 DNA points. Gonna load the previous state. Got yellow bubble and plus 3 DNA points. Great. Gonna save the game. Got yellow bubble and plus 3 DNA points. This is great. Save the game and get the fish transmission. Okay, time to wrap this session up. I'm on day 33, have 2 remaining DNA points. Got the Festival of Love news, have insect, rabbit, fish, and wild game transmission. And I think passive DNA is already exhausted. I think this is a good start and a good save point. In the next session, I'm gonna create another save file for that session. Creating multiple save files is important because there are times that some sessions would not be good and we need to roll back. Multiple save points can help us roll back smoothly. Alright, let's start the second session. Got yellow bubble and plus 3 DNA points. Great. Gonna save the game. Alright, I got a red bubble. This red bubble is the main source of DNA points. However, these bubbles are finite and we need to make sure to gain many points in each red bubble. Without metabolic jump gene, the maximum points we can get in this red bubble is plus 5 DNA points, and the minimum is plus 3 DNA points. Try to get the plus 5 points if possible. It's highly recommended to get plus 5 or plus 4 points from red bubbles, and try not to get plus 3 points frequently. In this phase, we're still gonna do the save load trick that we did in the first session, but this time we're gonna do it to get red bubbles, yellow bubbles, and hopefully a fish news. This fish news is the effect of the fish transmission, where a random country will be infected. In this session and later, save load trick will be more frustrating. If you can get a red bubble or yellow bubble in a day, then it's great. Sometimes it's really hard to get something in a day, thus you may try to move 2 or 3 days just to get a red or yellow bubble. But I really recommend to get a red or yellow bubble in a day, and don't frequently move 2 or 3 days just to get a red or yellow bubble. If it gets really frustrating, then I think it's alright to move 2 days instead of 1 day. Got plus 4 DNA points from that red bubble. I don't like it, so I'm gonna load the previous state. Got yellow bubble and plus 3 DNA points. Great. I'm gonna save the game. Oops, I didn't notice the red bubble. I got plus 3 DNA points from that red bubble. I don't like it, so I'm gonna reload the previous state. Got 2 red bubbles with plus 3 DNA points each. I don't like this, but it's kinda frustrating, so I'm gonna accept it and save the game. Get this transmission and then save the game. Got plus 1 DNA point and plus 3 DNA points from red bubble. It's bad. I'm going to reload the previous state. This is the fish event that I'm talking about. I think there's no limit to this event, but it's really hard to spawn, although it could be easy sometimes. This event randomly infects any country on the map. We can use this to infect hard-to-reach islands like Greenland, Caribbean, etc. We can also use this to infect the American continent. If you infect Mexico or Central America using this event, you don't need to send an infected plane to Mexico, which is a massive relief. Sending plane to Mexico with few infected people in Saudi Arabia is really a frustrating experience. Got plus 3 DNA points from that red bubble. I'll take it. Got plus 4 DNA points from that red bubble. I'll take it. Get the frozen storage resilience transmission and then save the game. Got plus 4 DNA points from that red bubble. Get the preservative storage resilience and then save the game. Alright, I got the 3 storage resilience transmission around 45 days. I think this is a good save point. Going to save the game and this session. Get ready for the third session and we will create another save point in that session. Alright, into the next session. Got yellow bubble and plus 3 DNA points. Going to create a new save point. Got plus 4 DNA points from that red bubble. Going to save the game. Got plus 2 DNA points from that yellow bubble. Not bad. Going to save the game. Got plus 3 DNA points from that red bubble. Don't like that. Going to load the previous state. got plus 3 DNA points. This is starting to get frustrating, so I'll take this. I have no choice. My god, this is frustrating. I'm gonna let things flow for now. Not planning to save this part though. This event is tempting, however, number of days is really important in this strategy. At this point, I assume I already spent 60 days or more, and that's bad. That's why I'm not gonna save this part. Oh my god, I hate this session. Take note that I'm not gaining and spending any DNA points at this point. I'm not getting plus 5 red bubbles or plus 3 yellow bubbles in a day or at least 2 days. That's why I'm not saving any progress right now. Alright, I give up. Gonna take a break and end this session. Alright, let's continue. Notice that I already have 4 mad cows disease save points. I didn't record the session of the latest save point because this latest save point was planned to be an experimental save point. I just realized midway of the session that the session is a good session. Don't worry, I've written all the events that I triggered in the session and I'm gonna discuss them later in the game. Now let's open this 4th save point. Look at the top right and remember the days in the pop-up. That's the current day of the save point. I'm gonna explain how I got into this day shortly. In the 3rd session, some transmission were not activated. Now all of the transmission are activated. I'm going to discuss how I got the remaining transmission. Current day of the last update of the 3rd save point is 53 days. Current points of the last update of the 3rd save point is 15 points. You can verify this by moving back to around 30-minute mark in the video. Now for the transmission. Purchase dairy transmission for 10 points. Remaining points 5. Move to day 56. Infected Central Asia and got 4 DNA points from the red bubble. Remaining points 9. Purchase ship transmission for 8 points. Remaining point 1. Move to day 58. Infected Kazakhstan and got 4 DNA points from red bubble. Remaining points 5. Move to day 60. Infected Afghanistan and got 3 DNA points from red bubble. Remaining points 8. Move to day 62. Infected China and got 3 DNA points from red bubble. Remaining points 11. Purchase pork transmission for 10 points. Remaining point 1. Move to day 64. Infected Pakistan and got 5 DNA points from red bubble. Remaining points 6. Move to day 66. Infected Sudan and got 3 DNA points from red bubble. Remaining points 9. Move to day 68. Got yellow bubble worth 2 DNA points. Remaining points 11. Purchase poultry transmission for 10 points. Remaining point 1. And those are the events happened in the 4th save point. Got plus 5 DNA points from the red bubble, great, going to save the game. 5th save point has been created. Got plus DNA points from red bubble, I don't like it, so I'm gonna reload the previous state. At this point, I'm looking at red and yellow bubbles and also looking for planes that may go to Mexico. Got plus 4 DNA points from red bubble, not bad, going to save the game. Get cold resistance 1 first before saving the game. I ignored the red bubble because I didn't get it in a day. Got plus 3 DNA points from the red bubble, I don't like it, going to reload the previous state. There's still a decent amount of uninfected countries left, so I think I'm gonna take the plus 3 DNA points and save the game. Got plus 4 DNA points from red bubble, not bad, going to save the game. I ignored the red bubble because I didn't get it in a day. Got +2 DNA points from the yellow bubble. Not bad. Going to save the game. Got +4 DNA points from the red bubble. Not bad. Right now, I'm checking if I spent too much days, and I think number of days is still fine. Get cold resistance 2, save the game, and I'm gonna take a break. Alright, let's continue. Got +3 DNA points from the red bubble in a single day. I think it's alright. I'm gonna take it and save the game. Sixth save point has been created. Got fish event and it infected Australia. This is great. Now try to pause and unpause the game in quick succession in order to reduce the number of days before the red bubble pops up. Don't forget to save the game afterwards. I'm gonna take the red bubble, but I'm not gonna save the game because I'm in day 80 right now, and I think a plane from Saudi Arabia to Mexico will spawn somewhere at this point, so that's my priority. Again, Gonna take this red bubble but not going to save the game because my priority is to look for a plane from Saudi Arabia that will go to Mexico. It will spawn at this point. Again, going to ignore the red bubble. I think I'm gonna stop ignoring red bubbles. I'm still in the early days of 80, like 81, 82. So I think I can still get the plane. I think the plane will spawn somewhere around 85 days above. We got plus 4 DNA points from the red bubble. Not bad. Going to save the game. And there we go. A plane from Saudi Arabia to Mexico has spawned. However, it's not infected. Now we have an estimate when the plane will spawn. The goal today is to spawn an infected plane from Saudi Arabia to Mexico. I think number of infected people in Saudi Arabia is less than 10,000. Not bad, but the chances of spawning an infected plane is low. Buckle up because this part is gonna be really frustrating. You might ask, how do you know that a plane from Saudi to Mexico will spawn somewhere around day 85? Well, all you need to do is to load your latest save point and then inspect every plane that will go out of Saudi. If a plane to Mexico does not spawn in day 100 or lower, reload your latest save point and keep looking. It's better to look for the plane in between day 80 to day 100. This gives us more room to look for red bubbles in American continent. You might also ask, why Mexico? Mexico is in the middle of North and South America. Also, Mexico is a hot country, and remember we started in a hot country and thus our plague has bonus infectivity in hot countries. The location of Mexico is also important because we can evenly infect both North and South America. Another good benefit of infecting Mexico is that Mexico can send a ship to Caribbean, which is one of the hard-to-reach countries. If Mexico can be overwhelmed by our plague early, our chances of infecting Caribbean is gonna be high. Get the red bubble but don't save it. Focus on the infected plane. That's plus 5 DNA points from the red bubble. Kinda tempting, but ignore it. Alright, I think I'm gonna create a temporary save point and see if I can still get a plane to Mexico. The plus 5 DNA points from that red bubble is really hard to ignore. Notice that I already removed the temporary save point. I removed it because I couldn't get the plane to Mexico in that save point. Get the red bubble but don't save it. And there we go, an infected plane on the way to Mexico. Now let's let the plane travel to Mexico, and after that, try to unpause the game in quick succession to reduce the amount of days needed before the red bubble in Mexico pops up. Alright, it's time to create the 7th save point. We're already in day 90 and 70 more days before we reach day 160. That's all for this session. Gonna take a break. Alright, let's continue. Got plus 5 DNA points from the red bubble. Great. Going to save the game and create the 8th save point. Got plus 4 DNA points, and I'm gonna ignore it because I badly need plus 5 DNA points per red bubble. Got fish event and it infected Canada. Going to pause and pause in quick succession in order to reduce the number of days needed before the red bubble pops up, and hope to get plus 5 DNA points from that bubble. Got plus 5 DNA points from the red bubble. Great. Going to save the game. Get this ability first before saving the game. Alright, gonna take a break. Alright, let's continue. Got plus 5 DNA points from the red bubble. Great. Going to save the game. Got plus 5 DNA points in a single day, just like the previous one. Great. Going to save the game. There are still decent amount of countries that are not infected, and that's great. Another plus 5 DNA points from the red bubble. Going to save the game. Get avocado first before saving the game, and after that I'm gonna end this session. Notice that I have 8 DNA points, but in the last save point I only had 3 DNA points I already have DNA points because I initially got plus 5 DNA points from the red bubble from account 3, but the video recording software failed to record the initial portion of this video. Even here, you can see that my video is lagging. Alright, let's create the 9th save point. You can see that my computer is slow in this part. Got plus 5 DNA points from the red bubble. Great. Going to save the game. Another plus 5 DNA points from the red bubble. Awesome. Gonna save the game. And a fish event. I'm very lucky today. Let's see if I will get plus 5 DNA points from this event. I don't like the outcome. I got plus 3 and plus 4 DNA points from each red bubble, which I don't like. So I'm gonna load the previous state. I need plus 5 DNA points in each red bubble at this point. Got plus 5 DNA points from the red bubble. Great. Going to save the game. Going to take a break after saving. Alright, let's continue the hunt for the yellow and red bubbles. Don't like the outcome. Going to load the previous state. Plus 5 DNA points in each red bubble is really needed at this point. Got plus 5 DNA points from the red bubble. Great. Going to save the game. Let's create the 10th save point. Only plus 3 DNA points. Load the previous state. Got a fish event. Great. Let's see if I can get plus 5 DNA points from the red bubble of this event. Also, pause and pause the game in quick succession in order to reduce the number of days required before the red bubble pops up. Alright, that's plus 5 DNA points. Going to save the game. Got plus 5 DNA points from the red bubble. Great. Going to save the game. I think this mutation is too early. Going to ignore this right now and load the previous state. Ignore this mutation for now. I think it's alright to get this mutation. It won't affect our hunt for the red bubbles, I think. I can get this ability right now because acute encephalitis has been mutated. Now, more symptoms are now open. Get inflammation and abscess, save the game, and gonna take a break. Alright, let's continue the session. Two red bubbles at the same time. This is great. Let's see if I can get plus 5 DNA points on both red bubbles. Got a total of plus 9 DNA points from those red bubbles. Not bad, I think. I think I'm gonna take this outcome and save the game. We are currently in day 109. We're getting closer to day 160. 11th save point has been created. Got plus 2 DNA points from the yellow bubble. Great. Going to save the game. Only plus 3 DNA points. Load the previous state. Only plus 3 DNA points, not good. Reload and load the previous state. Only plus 3 DNA points, load the previous state. Try to delay this watchlist news if you can. Delaying this event can help us reduce the cure progress. Only plus 4 DNA points. Reload the previous state. Got plus 5 DNA points from the red bubble. Awesome. Going to save the game. Another plus 5 DNA points. Great. Going to save the game. Got plus 4 DNA points from the red bubble. I'm not sure if I'm going to take this, but I think it's alright. Let me decide. I'm also thinking about the infection rate in Southeast Asia. So far, the initial infection of the countries here are not good, but I hope the momentum keeps growing. And then, if that happens, the chance of infecting the islands in the Southeast Asia are gonna be high, which is a good thing for us. Alright, let's save the game. Only plus 4 DNA points. I badly need plus 5 DNA points in each red bubble. Another plus 4 DNA points. Load the previous state. Alright, got plus 5 DNA points from the red bubble. Going to save up the game and then take a break. Alright, let's continue the session. Got plus 5 DNA points from the red bubble. Awesome. Save the game and let's create the 12th save point. Let's save later. There's an infected plane that went to an not infected country. Let's see the outcome of that plane. Pause and unpause to reduce the number of days needed before the red bubble pops up, and I'm hoping that I'll get plus 5 DNA points. Alright, got plus 5 DNA points from the red bubble. This time, I'm gonna save the game and create the 12th save point. Get necrosis and coughing first, and then create the 12th save point. Got plus 5 DNA points from the red bubble. Great, going to save the game. Oh my god, I'm not getting any events. I need to persevere. Even it's really frustrating right now. A plane event. Na Japan is already infected. Load the previous state. Alright, I'm gonna give up for now. Let's continue this session later. Alright, let's continue the session. Got plus 5 DNA points from the red bubble. Great, going to save the game. got a fish event, and it infected New Zealand, which is a hard to reach country. I hope I get 5 plus 5 DNA points from the red bubble of this event. Only plus 4 DNA points. I think I'm gonna accept the outcome because New Zealand is one of the hard to reach countries, and infecting this island early is a great advantage for us. Get pulmonary edema, save the game, and I'm gonna end this session. Alright, let's continue the session. Alright, if you reach this far, and then congratulations. At this point, we're not gonna use the save load state intensively. We will still use the save load trick here, but less intensive than before. Right now, the goal is to get the total organ failure in day 160 or less. At this point, you should have all non-vegetable transmission, avocado, cold resistance to, and necrosis. At this point, most countries are infected. We can't rely on red bubbles anymore. However, it's time to rely on DNA points from infections and deaths. Infections and deaths in a day are random, and it's tricky to predict. That's why we let our luck do the job. Alright, let's continue the game. 147 days. Let's see. Nah, it takes a long time to get the total organ failure. Reload the previous state. $160 days and I'm not getting the total organ failure. This is not good. I'm going to reload the previous state. Never mind. I'm gonna reload the previous state later. I wanna see the outcome of this run. Right now, I'm testing things out and looking for the next mutation. I wanna see which day the next mutation will pop up. Alright, I think it's time to reload the previous state. $146 days, not good. Already over 160 days. This is a bad run. I'm going to reload the previous state again. Gonna play for a bit and I wanna see the outcome of this. Alright, reload the previous state. 151 days. I guess another bad run. Oh well. 163 days and I have lots of points. I think this run can make it. Get the total organ failure and let's create the 13th save point. Get rice for hot countries and also good amount of infectivity. Get potato for cold countries. Get this symptom to unlock blindness, which has a decent amount of lethality. Going to create a temporary save point. I think this run is good. Get blindness for decent amount of lethality. Get paralysis to slow down cure progress and a small amount of lethality. Get hallucinations for infectivity and unlock seizures. Get seizures for small amount of lethality. Got the second mutation, but the infection rate of other countries are really bad. Going to reload the temporary save point. Get blindness and paralysis. Get hallucinations and then seizures later. Get seizures. This is not a good mutation. I need to mutate systemic infection for free. Alright, let's repeat what we have done previously and hope to mutate systemic infection. Oh god, not that mutation. Alright, reload the previous state. I hope I'll get the systemic infection this time. Nah, not again. Alright, reload the previous state. Let's try again and hope to mutate systemic infection for free. Another failure. Reload the temporary save point. Nah, not again. Alright, reload the previous state. Unnecessary mutation. Reload the previous state. I mean the temporary save point. Alright, I got systemic infection. I'm not gonna save the game right now because I think the infection rate in other countries are not good. Let's see how this run goes. My priority right now is to reduce and slow down cure progress and maybe add a bit of infectivity. I think this run is looking pretty good. I wanna see the outcome of this. It's very likely that I won't get 3 biohazards in this run, but I think it's really interesting to see the result. You may not know, I may get 3 biohazards here. number of days is decent and your progress is decent. I really wanna see the result of this run. Alright, I surprisingly get 3 biohazards in this run. Really great. Remember that you only need 65,000 points to get 3 biohazards in an official scenario. And I got 3 biohazards in every scenario in Mega Brutal difficulty. And thank you for joining me in this journey. See you later.